I recently had the opportunity to read Powerful, Building a Culture of Freedom and Responsibility by Patty McCord. She was the chief talent officer at Netflix from 1998 to 2012. They went from selling DVDs in the mail to this absolute behemoth of a company that everybody knows today. If you're in the startup world, you might be familiar with the Netflix cultural slide deck that was circulating a few years back. This basically became the playbook for building a winning company culture. Powerful is basically an expansion on that. It talks about how Netflix was able to rethink how to incentivize and motivate their teams to get the absolute peak performance. Great employees, A players, want to be challenged when they go to work every day. And they also want to see that their contributions are making an impact on the success of the business. And while the core of the philosophy at Netflix was about eliminating policy and procedure, it wasn't a free-for-all. It involved relentless discipline to the 5 following areas. So at most companies, especially larger ones, it's very rare that the goals, the problems, the challenges, the strategy of senior leadership is relayed to the employees on the front lines. People want to know why they're doing what they're doing. It's so much more motivating when you can see that your job every day is contributing to the bigger picture, the larger goals of the business and the company. I hear this from candidates I interview all the time. They want to be stretched. They want to use the full extent of their abilities every day that they go to work. If you stopped any employee in the company in the hall and they couldn't tell you the 5 most important things that the company as a whole was focused on, there is not enough clear and open communication. There was no room for gossip at Netflix. Patty would always ask somebody who's complaining about another employee, did you address the problem with them first before bringing it to HR? And if they didn't, that was the end of the conversation. So quickly, this culture of radical honesty became a part of the day-to-day and was eventually formally incorporated into their management structure with something they call stop, start, continue. This was taking the place of performance reviews. So rather than handling people with kid gloves, they really focused on constructive criticism. Eventually, this stop, start, continue was incorporated company-wide. So once a year, anyone in the company could send a stop, start, continue to anyone else in the company. The catch was there was no anonymous feedback allowed. People are far less honest when they're giving anonymous feedback as opposed to attaching their name to it. One of the great dangers in business is people who are great at winning an argument due to their powers of persuasion rather than the merits of their case. Now, those talented engineers at Netflix, they love their data. So this became a part of the company culture where any debate that was going on, you better be bringing data point after data point after data point, or you might as well not even show up. So as a part of communicating their goals and these discussions with the organization, Reed Hastings, the CEO, would orchestrate debates between senior leadership in front of the whole company. So that let people see firsthand they're making decisions based on data and logic as opposed to what some senior leadership executive thinks is a good idea. A lot of times with data points and debates, it was about boiling things down to the most important foundational point. And the ultimate zinger, the ultimate knockout punch in these debates, interesting point, but how does that help the customer? So with this as the foundation, decisions were not about proving yourself right. Decisions were ultimately about how is this decision helping us to create a product that our customers love. First and foremost, the buck always stopped with the hiring managers when it came to hiring talent or bringing on new people to their team. If the recruiter wasn't giving them what they wanted, Patty would tell them, look, you need to explain to the recruiter what you want. You need to sell the candidates. You need to really think about what we need now and what we need in the future. Now, as you might imagine, given their approach to just about everything else, when it came to salaries, Netflix was all about transparency. Salary increases were based on the net value of good decisions or value to the company now or in the future, as opposed to something arbitrary. Another piece of tough love, so to speak, was the philosophy that it's okay to outgrow your team. So just because someone was a rock star when Netflix was a smaller startup, maybe they didn't fit once the company was more mature and roles, responsibilities have evolved. Absolutely brilliant. Love her no nonsense attitude. This is a great book, easy read, and a lot of practical insight that you can use if you're in a leadership position at any level. This has been Brian Lee, Lion's Eye Recruiting. Happy hunting.